Hello and welcome. So there's a double event coming to Tibia in the first weekend of April. So I thought I would share my top 3 spawns for level 200 to 450. These spawns worked for elite knights and mages. I will tell you the EXP and how much loot to expect on these spawns. When I talk about EXP in this video, I talk about green stamina EXP. I will talk about loot because the profit depends on how many imbuements you use, what your equipment is like, and whatever other reasons you can come up with. But the loot will always stay the same. I will also give you one great tip at the end, so stick around for that. So if you're ready, let's go. Coming in third on the list we have Gaze Spectres in Port Hope. This is one of my favorite spawns, and as a mage you can start hunting here around level 250 to 300 depending on your skills. As an elite knight you can start at level 300 without any big problems. The spawn is better for mages than elite knights. So in the spawn you get around 3.3 kk EXP per hour, and the loot here is around 700k per hour. That means at a double loot event you can make 1.4 kk loot per hour. You need a short pre-quest to get in, and when I hunt here I use this lap. Gaze Spectres are extremely weak to ice, so avalanches and ice weapons is the way to go. A link to the pre-quest will be down in the description. In this spawn, on a druid I use mana leech as imbuement, and on a knight I use mana, HP and crit. I could also use some defensive fire protection. The pros of this spawn is that it's easy to sell most of the loot because it's gems and Rashid loot. The cons is that it's the hardest spawn to learn how to play. The second on this list is Carnivore. I enjoyed this spawn more on the elite knight than the elder druid. You can start to hunt here at level 250 because that's the level requirement to get in. In this spawn you get around 2.2 kk EXP per hour, and the loot here is around 650k per hour. That means at a double loot event you can get 1.3 kk per hour here. You need a fire weapon as elite knight and great fireballs as a mage. You need to hunt -1 and -2 to get this profit. In this spawn I use mana leech, life leech as imbuement. The pros of this spawn is it's a lot of gems and easy to sell loot. The cons is that some of the gems requires Yashir. And one tip in Carnivores, don't use physical weapons. Carnivores reflect physical damage, and that means that it will most likely kill you. Before I tell you my last and final and best tip, tell me in the comments, what spawn are you going to try out during the double loot event? So the last spawn and my favorite way to make profit is Were-Lions. Even after the nerf, this spawn is so much profit. I prefer to hunt here on the elite knight, but the druid works just as well. The EXP per hour here is 3.3 kk, and the loot is around 800k per hour. That means at the double loot event you can get 1.6 kk loot here in 1 hour. And even if -2 is the only floor that's empty, it's still really good. Unfortunately you need to do a bit of a longer pre-quest to get in here, but I will put a link to that down in the comments. In this spawn I would use life leech, mana leech and crit, as well as some fire protection as a knight. As a druid I would use life leech, mana leech and critical strike imbuement. Lions are extremely weak to ice, therefore I will use ice weapons and avalanche runes. The pros of this spawn is that it's the most profitable of all the 3. The cons is that the most of the loot is heavy to cap, and that it's a longer pre-quest to get access here. So here's the tip. The double loot is more than double profit because the supplies is the same but the loot will increase. Remember that any spawn is better than no spawn at all. So do your best and try to get as much loot as possible during this weekend. If you like this, leave a like, comment or subscribe. Thank you. That was all for today. Until next time. See ya.